Don and Ralph were the Swami's steady boarders, although during the day they also went out, returning only for meals, sleep, and evening chanting. Occasionally they would bathe, and then they would use the Swami's bathroom up in his apartment. Sometimes they would hang out in the storefront during the day, and if someone stopped by asking about the Swami's classes, they would tell the person all they knew, which wasn't much. They admitted that they weren't really into Swami's philosophy, and they didn't claim to be his followers. If someone persisted in inquiring about the Swami's teachings, Don and Ralph would suggest, why don't you go up and talk to him? The Swami lives in the apartment building out back. Why don't you go up and see him? Srila Prabhupada ki. That was messy, wasn't it? I remember reading this book when I, actually this Prabhupada Lead and Reader, that section's called Planting the Seed, that part. And I got that book, Planting the Seed, on the motorway from the devotees. We were driving down the road and they came along and gave us that book. And then that book went into my cupboard for probably 2 years before I popped it out after I had had an accident and all these other things happened. I got that book and then I read it and I was amazed at how Prabhupada was so accommodating for these guys. You know, he was just so gentle and so that was attracting me because on the back of that book was a picture of Prabhupada with his wrap on and he was looking very serene. And that's what I was attached to, this picture of Prabhupada being very serene. And then when I read about how compassionate and soft and gentle he was, I was just like, this guy's really worth looking into. You know, and so I read the Leelamrita and then I went to the local library and I got the teachings of Lord Kapila and also Bhagavad Gita. And then you can say the rest was history. It was just a lot of mercy. You know, Prabhupada is just giving and giving and he is still giving today, you know. It was just a matter of whether we can take it. Would you draw another, bro? Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Gopi Janavara Girivara Gopi Janavara Girivara Soranandana Brajachana Yasoranandana Brajachana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanacha Jamuna Tira Vanacha Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Gopi Janavala Girivara Yamuna Tira Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Radha Girirani, Radha Girirani, Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya. Jaya Gurudeva, 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 Jaya Gurudeva, Srila Prabhupada ki. Om Shri Paramahamsa Parvati to show His divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. All glories to the Samudavadis. All glories to the Samudavadis. All glories to the Samudavadis. All glories to Sri Guru, Sri Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Naranam Namaskritya. Nam Chaiva Narottamam. Devim Sarastim Vyasam. Ojayam Mudiraye. So we're continuing reading from the fourth canto, chapter 25, entitled The Characteristics of King Puranjana, text number 18. Imanir Jara Ripusmat. Imanir Jara Ripusmat. Ushama Karavayuna. Ushama Karavayuna. Kala Pravala Vitapa. Chala Pravala Vitapa. Alani Tata Sampadi. Tata Sampadi. Manitara Rasmat. Nanir Chara Vikusmat. Ushma Karavayuna. Ushma Karavayuna. Alat Pravaladitapan. Alani Tata Sampadi. Imani Dharavi Kusmat. Ushma Karavayuna. Imani Dharavi Kusmat. Ushma Karavayuna. Imani Dharavi Kusmat. What did you say? Imani Dharavi Kusmat. Ushma Karavayuna. Imani Dharavi Kusmat. Ushma Karavayuna. Imani Jara. From the icy mountain waterfall. We put mat, carrying particles of water. Shuma Akara. Springtime. Vayuna. By the ear. Kalat. Moving. Avala. Branches. Utapa. Trees. Nalikata. On the bank of the lake with lotus flower. Padi. Opulent. Translation and purport by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. The branches of the trees standing on the bank of the lake receive particles of water carried by the spring air from the falls coming down from the icy mountain. Translation responsively. The branches of the trees standing on the bank of the lake receive particles of water carried by the spring air from the falls coming down from the icy mountain. In this verse, the Hema near Jahara is particularly significant. The waterfall represents a kind of liquid humor or rasa relationship In the body, there are different types of humor, rasa or mellow. The supreme mellow or relationship is called the sexual mellow, adi ras. When this adi ras or sex desire comes in contact with the spring air moved by Cupid, it becomes agitated. In other words, all these are representations of rupa, rasa, gandha, sabda, and sparsha. The wind is sparsha or touch. The waterfall is rasa or taste. The spring air, kusha makara, is smell. All these varieties of enjoyment make life very pleasing, and thus we become captivated by material existence. Translation again, the branches of these trees standing on the bank of the lake receive particles of water carried by the spring air from the falls coming down from the icy mountain. Om Magana Timarandasya Janandana Salakaya Chakra Tamjena Kasma Namaha. After my respectful obeisances under my spiritual master, for he is kindly forcing open my eyes with the torchlight of transcendental knowledge. So we're continuing to hear Narada Muni speaking to the king, but he is not directly telling the king, you are in Maya. He is not doing that. He is being a lot more subtle and giving a description of Paranjana and how Paranjana is walking through the forest, and he is seeing all these wonderful things, and he has come across this lake, and there's a waterfall, and arousing this rasa, this adi rasa. So we understand through the Bhagavatam and specifically the teachings of Lord Kapila, he breaks down all the 24 elements to help us understand our illusion. We are all thinking due to the false ego, that we are these bodies, and it is a very tight noose that we are bound up with this illusion. I am this body, and we're hearing it all the time, and we can try and pretend that we are aloof, but no, we are not aloof. And Prabhupada mentions, I think, in the next verse, that if we are alone in a very beautiful place with a very beautiful woman, naturally we're going to come agitated. It's just like fire and butter. We hear it all the time, but if there is fire there, the butter is going to melt no matter what. So we have to be very, very careful. And we can see from Prabhupada's example, even back in these early days, he would not be alone, generally with a woman. He would have one of the boys there, because he is understanding fire and butter. It's like the science. It's going to melt. So Prabhupada also, and even in his old age, he was still acknowledging the power of the material energy and how we can be attracted. It's like a magnet. It's just like, that's just the nature of this material world. So we have to know the danger. We have to know what the danger is. And this is what the danger is this sex desire. It will bewilder us and lead us off this path back to Godhead. So we may be going down this path very nicely. And we can see also from many examples of devotees in the past, and even some of our sannyasis in the past. I remember with my my good wife. No, I said my good wife. When she got Brahmin, she was up at Madri's house. And I went with her to get her Brahmin, chanting on the side of the ear. And at that time, her guru said, you can leave us alone in the room. And I was a little bit bewildered. I was like, really? You want to be alone with my wife in the room? And so I left. I didn't question, and she got her Brahmin thing, and, she came out and she said it was a little bit weird. And later on, that guru fell down. So this is, we cannot take it lightly. We should not think that we are, so great that we can, associate closely with the woman and it's going to be all right. I'll maintain my position. No, it's just fire and butter. It's going to happen. So we have to, be vigilant and watch our distance and our association. You know, at times we do have to associate with the woman for service and all these sort of things, but not in a secluded place. That would be suicide, spiritual suicide. It would just not be so fresh. So that's why we have the Grihasta Ashram, so that we can, you know, enjoy to some degree, and then we get our air chewed off by the net, and all the other part going on that the wife is so expert at doing. She's very expert at finding our faults and telling us daily about our faults. But this is also the relationship between the husband and the wife. And, you know, we have to endure. There is no divorce. I was speaking to a young devotee the other day, and he was telling me how his new wife is already showing her colors, you know, and giving him the sauce. And it's hot chili sauce. He is already experiencing this, and he is thinking, oh, maybe I should get another one. And I just laughed, and I said, they're all the same, with all good respect to Madhumangal. Please forgive me. But you are so expert at pointing out our faults. And again, it is not you, it's just like our nature. You know, your nature is such, and we hear in the Bhagavad Gita, you know, the familiarity of the husband. You know, initially he looks so good and everything is so wonderful, but then when you hear him snoring and all these other things, you become very familiar with him. And then you start telling him this and this. But this is married life. Okay, so I'm fully accepting, but there is no divorce. This is my point. That we cannot think, oh, I'm going to drop you and I'm going to go find another Davy and it'll be better. Because it'll be just the same. That's what I was emphasizing to this young devotee. I was saying, don't think that by getting a divorce and getting another wife, that it's going to be any different. Just a matter of time. Yes, you know, maybe the first 2 years it'll be all very lovely and romantic, but in due course of time, the harsh realities of relationship will come out. So that we have to accept this. We have to accept that this is what it is. And it is our duty. Why do we become grihastas in the first place? It's to invite the souls down. We understand there's a Garbha Samskara. You know, we can chant 64 rounds. And if we're fortunate, we can get all the planets lined up. And then we can conceive at that time. Not that we are, you know, in a drunken state at an inauspicious time, because we understand, again, from the science, that at the time of conception, you know, that is determining who we're going to receive into our family. So if we understand this science and we apply the science, then we've got a better chance of things being not so bad. And, you know, all right, so this is Grihasta life. It's an ashram. It's not a place for enjoying. There is some enjoyment there, but then there is so much hard work. We know the bills and the babies and the bangles, all these things are, you know, what we have to provide, you know, but so this is what we do. But we're also very fortunate there's a Vanakast ashram as well. So if we're very fortunate, then we can pay off all the bills, become free from debt, because this was my plan as a brahmachari. I want to be debt-free by the time I'm 50. This was my plan. I never told my wife the plan, but by the time I'm 50, I don't want to have any debt, so that I can move on. I was going to say escape, but that's a bit hard. I would move on. So this was a plan, because it is given to us that, you know, this is a way. But hey, if your family is very spiritually inclined, so I've met many God brothers and God sisters, you know, husbands and wives, and they are very good devotees. But there is no need to leave. If your environment is very Krishna conscious, you know, you can stay and carry on your spiritual life. But if there is a lot of sparks and lightning and, you know, and it's a little bit harsh, then you can leave it all to the wife. It's not that you leave her a debt, though. You can't leave the wife a debt. I was talking to a Mataji the other day, and her husband left her this huge debt. You know, what a thing to do, you know? So we have to be responsible. Don't think that we can, you know, escape and get out easily. We have to perform our duty properly and do it nicely. And then, you know, then you can leave. You know, so no debt. The son has grown up. I was just fortunate. I was praying to Radha Giridhari the whole way through my Grihasta ashram. And he was very mercifully helping out. He said, okay, well, if that's what you want. Dear Lord, please, make me debt free so that I can come back and serve you. So he must have seen there was some little bit of sincerity in my heart. So he arranged everything very nicely. So then you give the wife the whole lot. It's all yours. Because she actually, my dear wife, say dear wife again, she actually filed for a divorce. And I was thinking, what? Initially, the first 2 days, I was like, all right, let's do this, But then after my intelligence kicked in and I was thinking, I can't, take 50% or anything like that, because at the time of death, Yamaraj will be there saying, what were you doing? You can't. So then I after 2 days, I realized I'm just going to give her everything. That'll shut her up. And it did. It did. I went and saw my lawyer and I said, can I talk to my wife? And he said, yeah, he's willing to. So we had a little meeting and she was gobsmacked. She wouldn't believe it. I said, you forget about your lawyer. I'll just give you everything. It's all yours. She was like, really? I went, yeah. So this is how we leave in a amicable way. She's happy. She's got a house, no debt. And then we can move on peacefully, knowing that, the son is there to look after her. And, we also keep in contact and so, respect each other and we carry on in our life like that. So this is the science of Krishna consciousness, how we actually, go into the ashram, try and enjoy, and then later in life, we either take vanaprastha or we can stay in the ashram. That's no problem. And we're going to hear in the up and coming chapters how time, irreversible time comes, and we hear about how we are weak, and then we're attacked, and then everything is, the soldiers are destroyed. We hear this whole analogy that Narada Muni is giving, how I can't remember the daughter of time, and she married Yamaraj or something. So fear and time are going to come. So you can imagine death coming. Jara is coming, or Jara is time, isn't it? Yeah, she's. Anyhow, it's the point is, as time goes on, we become weak. We are no longer strong physically. But if we are Krishna conscious, as we get older, internally we become very strong. If we are doing nice devotional service to the Krishna, we are meditating, on our japa, we are taking shelter of the holy name, we can internally become very strong, although externally our body is very weak. Like, look at Srila Prabhupada, his body was very weak, but he was like the general, and very fixed and also willing to go out and preach even in those final days. He wanted to go out and continue preaching. So this is our goal, is to become internally very strong and fixed. But we have to know what the dangers are. And the dangers are the Devis and their twinkling eyes and their broad hips. This is the danger we have to have our blinkers on for. Because at any time, even, I'm sitting here now speaking all this, but still I have to be very careful of the danger. At any time you can approach. And I've had it many times, unfortunately. Knock, knock on my door. It's just like, Krishna, so many, but still I'm just like, somehow or other, I've just been determined, no, I'm go away, and not entered into that. But the danger is coming and knocking on the door. Do you want to, go back into that pool? No. Could be because we're more attracted to Krishna. And we hear of Krishna's beauty. And we hear of Radharani. When I'm looking here today, Krishna with his bare chest, he's very attractive. If you're standing on the left side there, you can see, his chest and his belly, and we understand the descriptions of Krishna's beauty, and the wrinkles in his neck, and so many things about Krishna. He is the most attractive one. And then he is captivated by Radharani. So if we really try and understand the all attractive features of the Lord, then we won't be attracted to the ladies. We'll be attracted more to, Krishna and Radharani. And then, if we're fortunate enough, we go to the land of Vrindavan and we roll in the dust of Vrindavan and we pray to the land and we embrace the trees. And then we do all these things. We're bathing in the kunds, bathe in Radha Kund. And then somehow or other, the mercy is coming through all these things. And then our attraction dwindles. But still, we have to be careful. We should not think, yes, now I am invincible. I've got attraction to Krishna. I've done so much service. I am invincible. This is again our ego, and our pride. These things will cause us to slip and fall. And when you slip and fall, then you can, like you can break your wrist. Mongol Vaishnava, I don't know whether he slipped or whatever, but he's broken his wrist. At any time we can trip and take a fall and be very badly hurt. So, we always have to be aware of this. But also very respectful to the Mataji. It's like we should not think that back in the old days, we hear of how the men used to think they were superior to the ladies, and the ladies used to have a hard time. So all glories to the Matajis back in the old days. They really, the ladies are Maya and this and that, but no, the ladies are the ones who protect us in our married life, and they are doing, so we're very respectful to the Matajis. We should be. We should not think that we are better than them. That is pride and a big mistake. We should respect them. They are devotees, and ultimately we are all spirit souls, and going right up there to the higher platforms, with Rupa Goswami, hey, maybe our eternal form is that of a woman. As men, we are sitting here, but in the eternal rasa, we might be a gopi. So we shouldn't be, bashing the lady, because our eternal form may be that of a woman. So therefore, if we have the humility that Lord Chaitanya is constantly stressing, this Trinada P, so that we can chant the holy names and become fully purified, then so much can be revealed to us even while we're in these bodies. So much can be revealed. It's just a matter of our purity. Purity is the force, preaching is the essence. So absorbing ourselves in these things, so much can be revealed to us from within. And then we are not so attracted. Although we are still attracted. I cannot sit here and say I'm not attracted. I am attracted to the form of a woman. Just like Krishna. Hey, we are part and parcel of Krishna. And Krishna is attracted to Radharani. And he is controlled by Radharani. Because we were smearing sandalwood on Krishna's body the other day. But Krishna says, there's a verse, I can't look it up, where Krishna says that Radharani's body is more cooling than the sandalwood. It's such a sweet thing. He is acknowledging Radharani's coolness and her limbs. Her limbs are more cooling than the sandalwood. So this is, what we have to really, respect and acknowledge that, we are part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is attracted to Radharani. So we are always going to be attracted to the opposite sex. But we have to control that through knowledge and detachment. We have to have the knowledge. We have to constantly associate with Srila Prabhupada's book and read these books, and particularly these pastimes here, and hear of the reality and hear of the danger, how time is coming and it is going to take everything away. So this is how we become wise, by coming and hearing and reading. This is the mercy that Srila Prabhupada has given us. Okay, I'll just read the translation again. The branches of the trees standing on the bank of the lake receive particles of water carried by the spring air from the falls coming down from the icy mountain. Any questions or comments, please? Sati is sitting there. Okay, everyone is happy. I haven't upset the ladies, so I'm safe. You got to play it safe. You could suck in, and then you get shut down, you go out the door. So all glories to the Madhajis. All glories to Shri. Oh, yes. Question? Mm-hmm. Hang on, slow down. Hang on. Hang on, stop. You lost me. Start again. So many pastimes in the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. Yes. 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 What is going on in the spiritual world? Yeah. Well, it depends actually. No, 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 no. Like Nectar of Devotion, and when you read into it, you're saying it's not all there? Is that what you're saying? Yes, but we're also in the 10th canto, we are hearing, in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is definitely all there. Like the Rasa Leela, this is the pinnacle of enjoyment. Krishna on a full moon night is playing his flute, and all the gopis are hearing the flute and the fifth note, and they are just dropping everything and running, and their clothes are all disheveled, and they're just running to Krishna, this attraction. Now, we are parts and parcel of Krishna, right? So we also, in our illusions, we try to become Krishna. We are, like here, we are hearing, the male, female rasa, and there is this breeze coming from the waterfall. And so in this world, we are trying to imitate that highest thing of the Rasa Leela, or even at Radha Kund, the water pastimes, where they are squirting each other, and the ladies' clothes are becoming wet and their breasts are being exposed, and it is such a beautiful sight for the eyes. So this is all being described. This is the highest enjoyment, this relationship, this sex desire thing is the pinnacle in the material world, and it is a perverted reflection of what is going on in the spiritual world. So as we become more purified through devotional service and humility and nice chanting, then our intelligence will get to the point where we can think, don't try and do it in this body, because this body is destined to be turned to ashes. Everything in this world is going to be destroyed in due course of time. So don't try and do it in this form. Try and assist. I underline the word assist Radha and Krishna in their pastimes. Because then when you're assisting, you're present. You're present right there on the bank of Radha Kund with the big syringe or whatever, the water pastime. You're assisting in the pastimes, and you're seeing the pastime right there. So you're experiencing it virtually to the same extent that Krishna is experiencing, but you're assisting in that pastime. So if we understand that this is the best thing to aim for, like we just had the Ram opening of Lord Ram's thing the other day, but that rasa is a different rasa, where Ram is the king, and the whole reverence is there. But that and Krishna's pastimes, especially the Madhurya rasa, that has been kicked out long ago. And the whole relationship between Krishna and the gopis is so sweet. We're just assisting, whether we're making flower garlands or making, we hear they prepare beds of flowers for Radha and Krishna to lie on. And then there is also the nectarian glories of Vrindavan by Prabodhananda Saraswati. He is a poet, and he has written very nice poetry about Radha and Krishna. And that really takes you right into the groves of Vrindavan, where Radha and Krishna are enjoying. And it mentions there how the gopis are very shy and they want to leave. But Radha and Krishna are inviting them to stay, just like, so it's like we can be very, very closely connected, but it takes purification. We've got to give up this whole I can enjoy in this world. And it's not easy to give up this I can enjoy in this world, because we're constantly being presented with it and tested. Basically, we're being tested. And so we've got to really become very strong. And it's knowledge and detachment, side by side. You know, it's like a sword. Armed with the sword of knowledge, you know, cut this knot of, you know, I'm sitting here speaking all this, but don't think that I am, you know, I've got to practice what I preach also. You know, don't think that I am some great, but this, I've just heard this and I've read this and I've got some little understanding of this, that we have to sharpen the sword and cut this knot. Does that answer your question? But it is all there. We should not think that, oh, Prabhupada didn't. And even Krishna book. Right? Yes, and also Krishna book, because Prabhupada wrote Krishna book in the early days because he was not sure whether he was going to, how long he was going to live, right? Because he had the heart attacks on that. So Prabhupada translated the 10th canto very early so that we could be given this understanding of the Rasa Leela, so that this is the highest thing, and it's being presented by Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami is giving in his Nectar of Instruction such a condensed instructions, you know, chant the holy name, don't commit offenses, don't criticize devotees, and you can enter Radha Kunj. So that's a very condensed version. You know, it's right there in such a compact form. And then it's more in the Bhagavatam that is there. And then, like I say, there's other literatures that we can look around and see, but it is all just taking us to this whole meeting of Radha and Krishna and being present when they meet, you know, and whether, you know, there's so many moods, you know, like the anger of Radharani, sometimes she's very angry with Krishna, you know, and then there's the messengers going backwards and forwards, or the parrots, and, you know, all these rasas of, you know, separation and then attraction and the whole, you know, this is the sweetest thing, the relationship of the whole. This is really what we're after. It's not that we want money or fame. This is what Lord Chaitanya is telling us. Najanam, najanam, nasundram. I have no desire for human wealth or fame. And these three are very big things to overcome. Even for me personally, you know, I still am very attached to my bank balance. My bank balance, it's like my bank balance is my security, but it's not really my security at all. We understand philosophically, but still I'm very attached to my bank balance, you know. So that's something I have to work on. Mm. 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 It really comes down to how purified we are, you know, because we can hear it and hear it and hear it and hear it, you know, but if in our hearts we are still desiring, you know, wealth and woman, you know, if we're still desiring those things, like, you know, they're like big trees in our hearts, and we hear the root. If those things are still very strong within our heart and we come and we hear, it doesn't have as much of an effect because and it's like blocked, like looking through different lenses is another way of describing it. We're looking through the lens of material enjoyment still. So even when we hear it, it still doesn't, the penny doesn't drop. So it takes, that's why we're encouraged to perform devotional service, through our action. Our actions speak louder than our words. So by doing devotional service and showing the Lord that, I do want to offer you something, gradually, these other desires will diminish. But, we're talking lifetimes of desires and all these things. So depending where we are individually will depend on the impact it has on us, because some of us are still very attached. And, we can come and we may not even get it in this lifetime. We can understand, and we're all not going to make it. Although the mercy is so strong, there's so much mercy there. There's a good chance that we are all going to make it. Krishna will arrange something for us to get purified, whether we get really sick, whatever may happen to us, so that we do get purified, so that we do come to that stage of, okay, I give up. I'm not going to try and enjoy here anymore. You win, sort of thing. Let me fully surrender. And this fully surrender is another statement that can roll off our tongue, but fully surrender, that's like right up there. We sort of surrender a little bit. I'll do this, Krishna, if you give me that, and all these sort of things. So it's a gradual process to come to that elevated platform of being able to appreciate every word that we've been given. Like it was said, like even if you touch the books, even one line is all leading us to this relationship of Radha and Krishna. And it is, it will gradually more is revealed in the heart. So we just have to keep persevering and have that shraddha, like there's that shraddha to praying, right? From the faith, and then the ruchi and the steps we take, gradually we'll get to praying, which is something to look forward to. We'll all become mad, we'll be crying and fainting on the asana, and all these emotions will be so strong that they'll overcome. We'll be overcome with emotion. Even Prabhupada, we hear sometimes he was crying, and what to speak of behind closed doors, what he was really experiencing internally. So like I was saying earlier, even in this body, we can experience so much spiritual pleasure through remembering the greatness of Radha and Krishna. By remembering and appreciating it, we can, become overwhelmed with emotion and gratitude and all these sort of emotions can overcome it. That, we have been given such an amazing thing. Even Indra is desirous of what we have. Speaking of which, he's getting closer. He's coming. Indra's coming on his. Even the Lord of the heavenly kingdom, he is, desiring service to Krishna. So this is really what, we're so fortunate. We're like pigs in stool. Like I said right at the beginning, when I first got my Prabhupada Lina Rita on this motorway here, I was not, qualified. I hadn't performed any yagnas or anything, but still the book came. So this is inconceivable mercy for us people in Kali. We've been given just the highest possible thing that's conceivable, with the real truth of what is going on in heaven. We talk about heaven, but when you get to hear what's actually going on, it's just whether we've got enough intelligence to realise it, take it. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Premanandi.